All right. I got off. Okay. So I'm going to try really hard to keep this in a position where I'm not talking over people and using terms people don't understand. I've been told many times I do that. However, there's some things in here. We'll just do what we can. One of the things I'm starting to see now, we saw it in 08. We're seeing it again. We're about to see a lot more of it in the next 18 months or so, is what happens to people when they become uncomfortable with their current hierarchical structure. Women do this, men do this. It's not a sex thing. It's just we react a little bit differently. So in 08, when we started to see financial change, we saw a lot of relationships die. We saw a lot of new relationships be created because of that hierarchical function. What we're going to start seeing soon is the same thing. People who are making X amount of dollars, who are not making more, because of the inflation we've had and whatnot, it's going to decrease the quality of life and the standard of living of a lot of people. And so, I mean, if you made $300,000 3 years ago, and 3 years from today, you're still making $300,000. That $300,000 is vastly different in buying power. So the quality of life it will afford is also going to be very, very different. So what we end up seeing is as those things start to shift, if we have a maintained hierarchical structure where financial stability or financial excellence is a high priority in that person's hierarchical structure, the value of the person that they're with will diminish. So basically, the more you like material things and money and the things money can buy and the status of that type of thing, as the value of the person that you're with in that vertical decreases, the attractiveness of that person to you also decreases. This is why a lot of times marriages start having problems. This is why marriages start falling apart. It's because either the view of the hierarchical need either didn't change and circumstances changed, or people get bored and their hierarchical, they start viewing different, they put different weight or different importances on the different verticals of the hierarchy. So this is one of the things that, you know, I'm starting to see now, and I think that we're going to see giant amounts more in the next, like I said, 18 months. So I would recommend that, you know, if you were married, if you're in a relationship, that you start looking at your relationship and looking at your marriage and looking at the things that are going on around you, and shore that up. You know, whether that's get marriage counseling, whether that's, you know, read some books together, whether that's, you know, cut some stuff out and do more things together, focus on the family, whatever it is. I would highly recommend that you guys start looking at shoring up relationships, because as times change, or you can tell it however you want to, as things get tough, small cracks in relationships become larger gaps and things start to break. So if we strengthen them now, before the storm hits us, the damage is substantially reduced. So, and it's funny because like people will come in and they'll want to get in shape, they want to get healthier, they'll want to get whatever. And sometimes they don't even know that it's in preparation for a possible hierarchical change. So I think it's a well enough known thing that when if your girlfriend, everything's cool, then your girlfriend starts working out and starts getting back in shape and starts taking better care of her physical appearance, that type of thing, you should probably do the same thing, because she's uncomfortable with the status quo, and so she's making herself more attractive and raising her position on the societal hierarchical structure. It's probably not necessarily for the person she's in the relationship with. So it's that type of idea. And then it's ended up that people come here or they go to people like me to get in shape. Typically what it is the women come in ahead of time, get in shape, get ready, and then they announce their displeasure with the relationship, which is when the guys then come in, because it's usually like, I'm getting a divorce, I just got divorced, and I want to get back in shape, so I've got to get ready for the game. And that's fine. But I always tell people, if you get in shape ahead of time, if you start working on the relationship ahead of time, you can maintain it, and it will grow with you and get better all the way around. So I'm going to do a podcast on this and expound on it a little bit more. But that's one of the things I'm starting to see now. We saw it in 08 is if things in the world are looking like they're going to get tumultuous, I would start to shore down the things that make life better. Because if all of a sudden financially things are getting tighter and more difficult, the last thing you want to do is add on your relationship and your marriage and that type of thing getting more tumultuous as well. And just as a sidebar on that, whether it's illness, whether it's financial issues, whether it's whatever it is, any hardship that hits a relationship is going to find the cracks. It's like water. Water will always find a way to seep through cracks. And if the water starts seeping through cracks just a little bit, over time, it starts becoming worse and worse and worse, and the dam falls apart. So the idea that if you're not working to strengthen your relationship, you're letting time destroy it, you're letting the world destroy it, is 100% a thing. So, which is one of the big reasons that we started adding so much more mental work, mental psych work to what we're doing here. I said this for a while, I'm getting a little more vocal on it. You cannot be healthy you cannot be physically healthy with an unhealthy mind. So if you have, past traumas, if you have past issues, if you have current issues that you're not dealing with properly, those will come back to haunt you in a variety of ways. It will obviously destroy your relationships, but it also damage your health. It's everybody talks about how important mental health is. Like, I don't think you're going to talk to any healthcare provider anywhere who goes, nah, mental health isn't that big of a deal. Like, everybody's like, mental health is really important. I mean, everybody says it. Nobody does anything about it. That's been the big thing that we've been working on stress-wise for a long time is, getting your mind into this to deal with your stress, because your stress is the vast majority of your stress that damages you is psychological stress. So if you're not doing anything to deal with that, the biochemical is always going to be damaging throughout. So, that's why we talk about doing gratitudes, because, and I talk about this a lot, but we've had people I had a guy not too long ago. We didn't do a whole lot of mental stuff because we were working into it. But the big thing that he noticed was the gratitudes, and he did, the same thing, 2 gratitudes in the morning, 2 gratitudes at night. And after like a month, 6 weeks, I was talking to him and he goes, what's weird? He goes, about every 6-8 months after he gets a new car, he'd be like, I'd start looking for my new car. And he was like, and I've been spending, he told me he's always designing the new house he wanted to get. And he was telling me that after he's been doing the gratitudes for a while, he was like, I realized that it's been 8-9 months since I got my last car. He's like, I'm not looking for a new car. He's like, and I'm not really designing new houses. And I was like, why do you think that is? He was like, I don't know. He's like, I'm just content with what I have. And that's the thing. Depending on how we decide to focus our mind and what we want to do with our mind, it dictates everything else in our body. It's always funny because you look at the placebo effect. And the placebo effect is where someone has an illness or an issue or whatever with their health, and you give them a fake pill, like a sugar pill or whatever. You give them this fake pill and you go, here, try this, see if it helps. And it's like, I think the research shows between 26 and 32% of the time it helps tremendously. It's called the placebo effect. The reason that works is because their mind decided that they were going to get better, and so they did. And that's a lot of times what it is. There's also things that are called psychosomatic, where you have an issue in your body because you've decided that you have an issue in your body. There's psychosomatic pregnancies. Google some of this stuff. Like, Google psychosomatic function, because it's how your brain perceives an issue. You physically feel it. So your mind is extremely important to everything that you're doing. And I think people pay way too much lip service to it, not enough actual function to it. So that's one of the things that we do when we put people on a different path, is we're like, hey, look, here's all the things that we've got to do to make sure that, your mind's in the right spot. And that's why we brought in the NLP. That's why I, try to push people to the psych stuff, to where we try to, talk therapy, psychotherapy, whatever it is psychologically that you're going to do to make your mind stronger and more resilient, you need to start leaning into. And when you foresee an issue coming that's going to be a big storm, and the inflation thing's not calming down. They can tell you whatever they want to tell you. We're going to have inflation for the next couple of years. So that's needed. I think that we're all going to have to deal with. So if you know there's a storm coming, I would advise you to start shoring things up, to start making sure that if there's maybe relationship marriage counseling that's available through church or something else, or if you already have some issues that you know about, you're like, oh, I've got some stress, I've got this, I've got that. Maybe starting talking to somebody now would be beneficial, because it's not necessarily raining real hard right now, but you can see the storm in the distance. So just wanted to throw that out as something that I'm seeing coming. And I don't think that, if you really think about it, I don't think too many people are going to argue, that financial issues are one of the things that destroys relationships more than anything. So regardless if you're going to be able to make more money or have more money or save more money, if you give other reasons for the relationship to be strong, if you give other reasons for you to be psychologically and mentally strong, you're going to help weather the storm more. So whatever it is that you're going to do for your mental health, reading mental health books, reading self-help books, reading Tony Robbins, reading, start reading some of Steven's stuff, like the G Code. I always tell people, it's a great book to start with, or the example, that's the thing. But start figuring out how you can make yourself more mentally strong, more mentally secure, and strengthen your relationship. If you don't start thinking about that stuff, when the storm comes, it's going to hit you harder than you want it to. So just as a quick FYI, if you guys have any other questions, drop them in the comments or hit us up at questions@chalmerswellness.com, and we'll get going. So thanks for your time.